So we're just going to go for the heavyweight history again. I'm going to stop at sort of Jack Johnson because there's a few fights not put in this book that I'll mention as well, but that'll be in the second part. So the first part here, we start on the 7th of February. Now this is the bare knuckle era still, 1882. That's John L. Sullivan from the US, wins by KO against Paddy Ryan in Mississippi City, MS. And then you've got March the 10th, 1888. You've got Charlie Mitchell of England fighting John L. Sullivan. He's from England. John L. Sullivan drew with him over 39 rounds. In Chantilly, France. Then you've got August 1889. John L. Sullivan wins. Referee stopped the fight in the 75th round against Jake Kilrain in Richburg, Mississippi. I think that is. Now again, they're under the London prize ring rules, the bare knuckle rules, but then you got the first gloved fight, September the 7th, 1892. James J. Corbett of the US wins by KO in the 21st round against John L. Sullivan in New Orleans, LA. Los Angeles, I think that is. Then you've got January the 25th, 1894. James J. Corbett wins by KO against Charlie Mitchell, in Jacksonville. Then you've got March the 17th, 1897. Bob Fitzsimmons from England wins by KO in the 14th round against James J. Corbett in Carson City. Then you've got June the 9th, 1899. You've got James J. Jeffries, the US, wins by KO in the 11th round against Bob Fitzsimmons in Coney Island. Then you've got again in Coney Island. You've got November the 3rd, 1899. James J. Jeffries wins and points in the 25th round against Jack Sharkey of Ireland in Coney Island. You've got April the 6th, 1900. James J. Jeffries wins by KO in the first round against Jack Finnegan from the US. That's in Detroit. And then you've got March 11th, 1900. James J. Jeffries wins by KO. The 23rd round against James J. Corbett in Coney Island. November the 15th, 1901. James J. Jeffries wins by retirement against Gus Wrestling from the US against San Francisco. July the 25th, 1902. James J. Jeffries wins by KO against Bob Fitzsimmons in San Francisco. August the 14th, 1903. James J. Jeffries wins by KO in the 10th round against James J. Corbett in San Francisco. That's after beating Bob Fitzsimmons in the 8th round at San Francisco. So August the 14th, 1903, James J. Jeffries beats James J. Corbett by KO in the 10th round in San Francisco. August the 26th, 1904, James J. Jeffries wins by KO in the 2nd round against Jack Monroe in San Francisco. Jeffries announces his retirement and he referees the bout, I think you find. He referees the bout between Marvin Hart and Jack Root. So that's July the 3rd, 1905. Marvin Hart wins, referee stops the fight. The 12th round against Jack Root from the US in Reno, Nevada. February 23rd, 1906. Tommy Burns beats Marvin Hart on points over 20 rounds in Los Angeles. October the 2nd, 1906, Tommy Burns wins by KO in 15 rounds over Jimmy Fireman Flynn from the US in Los Angeles. November the 28th, 1906, Tommy Burns draws with Philadelphia Jack O'Brien over 20 rounds for the first time in Los Angeles. Then again, he fights him. May the 8th, 1907, Tommy Burns again fights Philadelphia Jack O'Brien and wins on points over 20 rounds this time in Los Angeles. July the 4th, 1907, Tommy Burns wins by KO in the first round against Bill Squires from Australia in Colma. December the 2nd, 1907, Tommy Burns wins by KO in the 10th round against Gunnar Muir from England, in England, London, England. February the 10th, 1908, Tommy Burns wins by KO in the 4th round against Jack Palmer of England, in London, England. That's February the 10th, 1908. Tommy Burns beats Jack Palmer in the 4th round by KO in London, England. And he beats Gunnar Muir in England, from England, in the 10th round. March the 17th, 1908. Tommy Burns wins by KO in the first round against Jem Roach from Ireland, in Dublin, Ireland. By a one-round KO. April the 18th, 1908, Tommy Burns wins by KO in the 5th round against Dewey Smith from England, in Paris, France. June the 13th, 1908, Tommy Burns wins by KO in the 13th round against Bill Squires for the first time in Paris, France. Then he repeats the same thing again on August the 24th, 1908. Tommy Burns wins by KO in the 13th round again against Bill Squires in Sydney, Australia. September the 2nd, 1908, Tommy Burns wins by KO against Bill Lang from Australia in Melbourne, Australia, in the 6th round by 6th round KO. So, December 26th, 1908, Jack Johnson, the first black heavyweight champion of the world, wins by referee stopping the fight, 14th round against Tommy Burns in Sydney, Australia. They shot off the cameras of the fight. Lovely. I'll leave it there and come back to the second part of Jack Johnson's reign. There's a few fights left out in this book, which is sometimes mentioned as well, title fights. Bang.